Hey guys, welcome back to Don't Call It a Podcast because it's much bigger than that. With myself, Melanie, and my best friend, Chrissy. We are both psychic mediums, and today's topic is a really good one because we're talking about meditation and the importance of meditating, why we need to meditate, how to meditate, different things of that nature. And it really goes with the last podcast we did, which was about energy cleansing and protecting yourself. Okay. And so, just a heads up, our next podcast, we're going to talk about channeling because all of that goes together, guys. You want to be cleansing your energy, protecting yourself, meditating, praying, tapping in, however you do that. And you're channeling in information while you're doing all of those things. So, but there's such big topics that Chrissy and I decided to break them down into their own podcasts for each. And then just saying, we're also going to do a part two to all of these several months down the road. We're going to come back, readdress all of these topics, and give out new channeled information and things that we're picking up for you guys. So, what do you want to start out saying about meditation, Chrissy? Chrissy
So,
is the what do I want to say? The master at meditation. Okay, like she has
well,
really mastered this art, so
well,
she's very knowledgeable with this.
yeah, maybe personal master because I think everyone kind of does it in their own way. But like for me, meditation, I always think of it as like soul awareness. It's to bring you inward or sometimes upward to receive messages for other people if you're that's your intention or for yourself. I just have a couple little notes so I don't want to forget anything that to and keep everything like as clear as possible because this can I think meditation is very intimidating to a lot of people. I think the human habit of a lot of the spiritual stuff is to complicate it whenever my intention is always to simplify it because it's that simple. It's just like everything that we do is simple. It's just our brains and our humanness wants us to make it way more complicated. I think kind of religion kind of trains us to do that as well, that it has to be all of these different steps and ceremonies and blah, blah, blah. But it's literally just bringing you back to yourself and being aware of your soul and communicating with your soul and your higher self. Um, so first, I just always want to say, like, I'm a fan of the Monroe Institute and Robert Monroe, and um, his affirmation is basically that we are more than our physical being, and that we are multidimensional beings, and meditation is communicating as a multidimensional being, and getting us out of our physical bodies. Um, I always suggest the Expand app by the Monroe Institute. That's one of my favorite meditation apps. They have all these different topics. They have guided, unguided. A lot of good beginner ones. But that's been my most success is with the Expand app. Also, Monroe Institute has a HemiSync meditation just on YouTube. It's 31 minutes. I love it. It's you have to wear headphones because HemiSync is like whenever they play music in each ear differently, so it brings your brain together. So your left and right brain have to work together to hear it as a whole, and that kind of helps train your brain to, for me at least, to clear my mind and to um, be open to messages. Um,
Cool.
and yeah, so I don't know if you've ever tried a hemi sync meditation
I
before.
haven't, but I have heard of it, but I forgot about it until you just brought it up. So I'm definitely going to try that.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's not the Monroe one is half guided, half just self-guided, just spiritually guided. But I just had I always try to tell people and they want to like a lot of people ask me how to start meditating because it is intimidating and they don't know where to start. And I like to say start with HemiSync because it's you just have to listen. Like let your brain do the work. Let your higher self do the work. And then you'll just slowly make more and more progress. Another thing that I'd like to tell people to start off with, like meditation, is just because there's so many different kinds of just, I do the five senses meditation. And I do this with like children a lot whenever they want their kind of all over the place, their energies are chaotic, and just to bring them back to themselves. It's like the five senses, like go outside, or I mean, even wherever you're sitting, like what do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you feel? And it's just like you just to stick with those simple five senses that we are all aware of, because we have more senses, but those are the higher senses. So our five basic senses,
Yeah.
just focus on those five while you're sitting in silence. Or like, do you taste your coffee that you just took a sip of? Do you hear the birds? Do you feel the cold air? Do you feel the sun? Just all of those different sensations. That's part of meditation, bringing you back to yourself. Just
Oh,
focus
yeah.
on the
And that made
body.
me think of breathing exercises
Yep.
go really well. They pair well with meditating.
Right.
Feel yourself breathing in, feel yourself exhaling out. And that's a good one for people like me. Okay, guys, I know that there's a lot of you out there like me. I have a hard time meditating because I had a hard time envisioning and seeing things. And what's interesting is I have clairvoyance, which is the psychic ability of seeing things. And I oftentimes daydream and see like movies playing out, showing me things. But then I try to meditate and can't see anything but blackness, like
Oh my
when I
gosh,
close my eyes.
Melanie, I hear that all the time. And I personally prefer just blackness. Like a lot of times, like in
Oh,
meditations or guided ones, they're like, pick a room or your favorite spot or nature, and like envision yourself sitting like in that spot. But for me, I'm always just, I just want to be pitch black. I just want my mind clear, clear, clear. Like I don't want to have to be distracted by envisioning things. And even the HemiSync one tells you like pick your favorite place to be right now. So that's where you can relax and get messages. But for me, darkness, the blankness is my place where I
that's
like to go.
great. What a great way to look at that. Wow,
Yeah.
Chrissy, you just always really open me up to new stuff, I'm telling you.
That's why I think this topic is gonna be fun for us, because like you're gonna
Yeah.
have, because like you've had a lot of questions on how to do it, and like and it's a practice. It's not a science. Like, or I guess it is a science too, but it's something you have to keep practicing, that a lot of people get frustrated with, and that's why they stop doing it, you know?
Yeah. I have a little thing to share really quick. So I have opened up more to my meditating abilities, and I'm opening up more to my gifts and abilities, which includes the clairvoyance and how I see things. And so it's actually opening me up in meditation. And I meditated yesterday, Chrissy. You'd be so proud of me. And I want to share with you guys what I saw because maybe it will help you envision this for you because this is a good thing to meditate with. So I was trying to strengthen my root chakra. So I was envisioning myself engulfing my own power or being engulfed with my own power. And for me, I've been elevated into, Spirit says, working with the element of fire. Okay. So in my meditation, I saw myself on fire. Okay. And then I put the fire out, and then I allowed the fire to come through the palms of my hands, the bottoms of my feet. I saw the fire coming out all of my orifices, my mouth, my nostrils, my eyes, my ears. You know what I mean? And was kind of just getting balanced with all of it. And then it kind of moved into me seeing myself as a tree, and my hair just kept growing and was like the roots of the top of the tree or the branches, which are like roots.
Mhm.
And my feet grew into these roots that were growing into the ground. And I was like, I can't wait to tell Chrissy about this because I went from darkness to this whole visual aid that I experienced yesterday. And it was not only baffling for me that I went from this to that so quickly, but really I didn't. I mean, I've been working on myself my whole life and very much for the past 5 years more than ever before. But it just kind of just happened, you know?
Right.
So I kind of wondered, Is it me holding myself back? Was it me always speaking into fruition? Oh, I can't see anything when I meditate. So then I continue to not see anything. I don't, you know what I mean? That could have played a part in it. And maybe it does for some of you too.
Oh my gosh, I've heard that a million times. So, so when I meditate, like I like start with darkness and then I'll get like a visual and then it kind of goes from there. But other times I don't. And sometimes like meditation's different every time. Whenever I'm not like some of the most vivid, amazing, just mind-blowing, life-changing messages or like visuals I've gotten through meditation was when I least expected it, or when I almost didn't want to do a meditation that day because I'm like, I'm tired, or I've like 35 minutes until I have to leave the house, but this is a 31-minute, meditation. I'm like, oh, I'll just squeeze it in, and because there's always an excuse not to. And one of the main excuses is frustration because people have this expectation, which expectation ruins everything, that you have an expectation that you're going to have this
Amen
amazing
to that.
visual. Yeah, and you're going to have this
Mhm.
amazing message every time. But I've been kind of going through a lot of just changes and different things in my life, and I just stopped to do meditation this week, and I was like, I really need some guidance. I really just, need to bring my energy back. I just, I just want some messages, see what comes through. And I was doing my meditation. I always lay down. I really don't like sitting up to do them because I don't know. I like the whole body relaxation kind of feeling. So I was laying down and doing my normal meditation and picturing the blackness, and I could not clear my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, thoughts kept popping in. I'm like, oh, okay. Acknowledge them and then release them. Acknowledge them, then release them. And then after my meditation, I was like, oh geez, like I didn't really get anything. I didn't really get like to relax, or I didn't really it was just a little more, it felt like more work because I was clearing my mind constantly. But then I had some reflection and I'm like, oh my gosh, every thought that popped in my mind was a happy thought. It was a good memory. It was a meaningful memory. It was there was a purpose for it. And instead I wanted to have a meditation for some guidance, but instead I received what I really needed to receive in that moment was just happy, funny memories that just kept popping in my head. And it was in the moment it was frustrating because I'm like, I'm trying to relax. And then I'm like, that was funny. Okay, I'll think about that later, or I'll laugh about that later. But it's like, no, my message was happiness, good memories, positivity. And it was all of just a message I would have missed if I didn't take the time to reflect and I just stayed in that
Yes.
frustration. And because it's, sometimes whenever you meditate, you're like, oh, well, that was a waste of time, but it's never a waste of time. There's always a purpose of what you're experiencing. Sometimes it's just
Yes.
blankness. I don't see anything. I'm just like blank, black, whatever. But I'm like, that was rest. Sometimes it's guidance. Sometimes it's a message. Sometimes it's the message for me. Sometimes it's for a loved one. And sometimes just to reflect on some memories because life is funny and sometimes we take it too serious. And I was taking life
Yeah.
way too serious because a lot of serious things were happening. And it's just a reminder, just like what like the playfulness of life. And so that's just like my 2 cents of, why sometimes things will pop in like that. Um,
Exactly.
there's always excuses to not meditate. Like a lot of people say they don't have time. Yeah, frustration's one, and that you can't quiet your mind. But
Yep.
don't let not quieting your mind frustrate you to stop doing it because it's a practice. Like I've been meditating for over a decade and I've been intentionally meditating, intentionally, I almost said medicating, which I guess kind of works too.
Same
But
thing.
yeah, same thing, different ways. Um, and to learn it, not I don't want to like master it, but like I have a lot of people that come to me because they want to learn how to meditate, but they're getting in their own way with an expectation. That's the number
Yep.
one thing that people get hung up on.
And
Um,
I just want to chime in really quick. because you said so many things that I totally agree with. And I just want to let you guys know out there that I know that a lot of you are in the standing where you're like, I can't meditate. I don't see nothing. It doesn't work for me. But it takes practice, just like anything else does. And it's like, keep at it because eventually you'll get to a place with it where it works for you. And like Chrissy said, she likes to lay down. Some people need to lay down, get comfortable, like you're going to get a whole massage or something,
Right.
But like for me, if I lay down, I fall asleep. So I can't lay down. I have to stay sitting up, but I also do close my eyes though. Some people leave their eyes open. So, like, just know that there's not specifics that you have to follow to be
Right.
doing it right because there is no right way to do it. Just freaking do it. And eventually, it's like riding a bike, you'll find your way with it.
Yeah, and just because it happens, like when I first started meditating and I would lay down, I would fall asleep. But then I also had like a toddler at the time or like an infant too,
Right.
and I'm like, I was
Uh,
just tired. I'm like, it's
yeah.
okay because like that meditation
It's
moment,
okay. And
yeah,
that's what your meditation needed to be that day. You needed rest, so
exactly.
you slept.
Yeah, and just like trust that you're getting exactly what you're meant to get in that moment. So I needed rest in that moment and but I still kept it as a practice and eventually I evolved out of that and I just and it yeah, it changes and you just never know what the purpose of what you receive during meditation is for. It could be healing and guidance, clarity. I mean, grounding. There's so many reasons and so many different types of meditation. And even doing it for so long, I still get those frustrating meditations. So if you're starting off, don't get frustrated because I I want to still classify it as a frustrating meditation, but now I understand that there's more meaning and a bigger purpose for why we have those kind of jumbled or interrupted ones or just yeah, ones that you just can't really calm your brain.
Yeah, and I kind of am feeling like spirit's telling me now the reason why I've opened up so much in my meditation and am seeing so much is because I recognize that I am working with spirits and forces of energy outside of myself. Okay. So when you're not recognizing that, that downplays it. When you don't recognize that you're powerful, that downplays it. When you tell yourself you can't see anything, that downplays it. So you could be, without even knowing it, working against yourself in every way possible and don't even realize it. And, it takes work to open up. So maybe meditation, you should start out with a guided meditation where you let someone else guide you through a meditation and tell you what to see so that it can help teach you to see what was already there that you just weren't tapping into.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always tell people first step is letting go of expectations. Expectations will just block you and ruin the experience. Second, I say practice just sitting in silence for 3 minutes a day, maybe 5 minutes a day. Set a timer and just sit in silence and just get used to to that short term, like having that your body just be silent and still. And then eventually you won't even have to set an alarm because your body like it's so crazy because like your body will be like that's been 3 minutes and you look at your phone or your clock you're like there's 3 minutes on the dot like once you practice enough your body will literally like get used to, okay, this are 3 minutes a day that we're being quiet or like we're clearing our mind. That's just the beginning. And then just
Hey,
I
and
have other
that
stages and steps to go through, but like, yeah, those
and
are
that's
like
the
the
same
beginning.
thing as what was I going to say? It was perfect. Where like say you're someone that you have to eat breakfast every day at 8:30 a.m. or you are not okay. It's the same thing. Your body, you could be doing anything, and all of a sudden you'd be like, "Oh my God, it's 8:30. I have to eat breakfast," and you don't know what time it is. Like that's the same thing to me. Like your body, you have to create a routine with yourself. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure. Yeah, exactly. And just trust that whatever you're getting in that meditation or in that 3 minutes of silence is what you need. We always think we know what we need, but like we have guides, we have angels, we have our higher self that all know what we need more than our human brain can even tell us what we need. So just
Right.
trust that, like, if you're getting nothing, it's because you just needed that quiet. And if you're getting a message, you need that message. If you're, yeah, filtering out thoughts, like a lot of times, like people get extra frustrated because they start thinking of embarrassing moments or negative things. Well, that's a releasing one. Release those memories. I say I disconnect those memories from my energy because they no longer serve me. So during a meditation, I'll start doing that and just like I disconnect the emotion to that memory and no longer serves me. And those memories just are healed. They're done. They're good. You've acknowledged them and you release them and they're out of your energy now. So it's a healing processing kind of meditation. There's so many, like you can do like walking meditations. I don't know, just I kind of meditate sometimes when I drive if I'm just like on the highway and I'm
I
familiar
think a
with the
lot of people
area.
do that and don't
Yeah,
even know that's what they're doing.
exactly. So there's
How many people have a half hour to 50-minute work commute every day?
mhm.
There's no way you're not meditating at some point during that long drive to and fro
Yeah, and
every day.
those random thoughts are your random messages, or that's guidance that you're receiving. Melanie loves to do music meditation where she like dances and moves the music, and there's quiet meditation, there's guided, there's unguided. I mean, it's limitless of how you can experience meditation. It just people try to fit it into a box because that's what humans like to do, is put it in like one little like nice and neat like category, but this is an expansion. It's not, yeah,
Absolutely.
it doesn't like it's going to be different for
It's
every
like
single person.
it's like an extension of yourself in the time that you're in and the level that you're at. And now that I have leveled up so much and raised my vibration, I am meditating in multiple ways. Whereas 5 years ago, I wasn't meditating at all that I knew of or was aware of. I've always done the music thing, but I didn't view it that way. But now I do. But I go for walks, and that is my nature meditation, where while I'm out walking, I either listen to my headphones and get messages through the music, or I'll go rogue with no headphones and just listen to the birds chirping and hear the cars driving by and whatever sounds is out there and let that speak to me. But then when I don't want to go out, I stay home and I come in my meditation room, my little office area, and I turn on my music and I just sing, dance, spin around in here like a crazy person. Sometimes I sit still and close my eyes and just let the music fill me up. I go with what mood am I in? How am I feeling? What kind of meditation do I need today? And my body and brain will always tell me, and it will always tell you too, and you can consider anything meditative that makes you feel good. If you like to garden, then go spend 5 hours out in your garden gardening. That's a meditation for you.
Right.
If you like to draw, go make a drawing, and that is a meditation for you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you don't have to limit yourself and, oh, well, I have to listen to this guided meditation because that's what they said meditating is, but I can't stand doing that. Well, then that's not your meditation. That's not meant for you.
Yeah.
Find what's meant for you and make it meditative. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or just you like I do a variety of different meditations. And not all of them are just like laying down in a dark, quiet room, but like sometimes you need that, but other times, yeah, there are ways to fit meditation in throughout like your normal day. Um, the one thing like I always say, like you have to believe that like your consciousness is limitless. So
Yes.
whenever you're going about your day and you have those little moments throughout the day, just know that like your consciousness is limitless, that like you are receiving those messages, you are having those experiences, you are having a quick meditation or a meditative moment, or you can intentionally sit down or lay down and do a meditation with a direct intention. Whenever you do like a direct intention or want to ask a question, just so I always say like I only receive messages for the highest good of all involved, and I always ask, what is it that I need to know, hear, see, or acknowledge in this moment today? And I usually pick one topic. A lot of times whenever we do like readings and stuff, we're like, oh, I want to know this, and this. But like whenever it's meditation, you should focus on one thing. You can, as you're meditating and like you kind of start getting answers or guidance on that one thing, you can ask for like expand, like to for them to expand on it or to for more guidance on it. But like you should stick with one topic at a time. Um,
Yeah,
Stay
because it'll get a
focused.
little confusing, especially if you're new to it and you're trying to learn how to open up and everything. Don't overdo it or try to overload yourself or ask 10 questions to 10 of your biggest, most life pressing issues all at once. One thing at a time, baby steps. But also, too, me and Chrissy were just talking the other day about how people meditate all throughout their day and don't realize it. You're meditating when you're cleaning your house, when you're doing laundry, washing dishes, when you're cooking. You could be meditating when you're driving, which she already mentioned, and when you're grocery shopping, you might be meditating while you're walking up and down the aisles in the store. I mean, there's just so many times throughout the day that you actually are in a meditative state and you don't even realize it or acknowledge it.
Yeah, and I think the more you practice, like I like my meditation is now down to like a switch. Like I can like almost like go in my brain and like flip a switch and I can be in that meditative state. With
That's
practice, a
amazing.
lot of people get like that, but like we kind of do it subconsciously throughout our day, but intentionally you'll get to the point where you have like an actual switch to flip. Um but yeah, the thing I always ask is like what do I need to know right now, especially if I don't have a specific topic that I want, like what do I need to know right now? And that's the guidance that I will receive. And yeah, it's different every time. The other thing
But
with
also, I just want to throw in really quick. Sometimes when I'm meditating and I ask spirit for an answer to something, I don't always get the response right away. Sometimes you will. If you don't think that it didn't work. Just know that that answer will come to you over the next few days, over the next week, something like that. Just be open to receive it when it gets there.
Yeah, and it might come the next day when you do a meditation, or maybe you keep having a repetitive thing pop up in your meditation. You're like, what is this? And then you'll get clarity on it. So just that's the thing, just let go of expectations, go with it. I used to journal after my meditations because I'd have like such vivid like things here and there, like visions here and there. But now I kind of can hang on to them. And also I talk to Melanie about them too. So she's kind of my human journal at this point. But yeah, just like decipher what it means. And some of them are so amazing and so cool. I'm like, listen to this one. Look what, you know. But then, yeah, other times there wasn't really anything to journal about or to write down, but that didn't mean nothing happened. It could have just been like healing happened. Like my body was healed because when I meditate,
Yeah.
I do call on my angels and my guides and archangels and I say like as I'm here, thank you for joining me and like heal me, raise my vibration. Like you can ask them to help you throughout your meditation to get the most out of that time. But the other thing is that you have to just set ego aside for meditation. Ego does not like to take the back seat to our consciousness. And that is another, I think, hurdle I think a lot of people get stuck on. It's not even just the frustration, because the frustration comes from our ego. It's like, I can't do this, or this isn't going to work for me, or like, and it's not even just the negative thoughts. It's just like your ego wants to tell you, I'm in control. These are like, that's not my, that's not a message for me, or that was a waste of time. That's your ego talking because, um, as humans, we have an ego, and as like our higher self does not. Like that's our consciousness, and so those two might kind of fight in the beginning, but like eventually you can set your ego aside and just realize that whatever is coming to you is from your higher self, not from your ego. Um, and yeah, just I don't know, just the most basic part is just learning to like just sit in peace, you know.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. I have
That's a big
a couple
problem
like
for a lot of
steps.
people.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not at peace in their life. So it's hard to meditate and be peaceful within that meditation when your life is a chaotic hot mess. I'm just saying. So it's no wonder why I couldn't meditate back 20 years ago because my life was a hot mess and in constant chaos. So, in my mind, I couldn't find peace and calm down because there was no calm or peace in my life. And it's like meditation is supposed to be a tool to help that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, along with making good life choices and decisions for yourself, you can use meditation as a key or a tool to developing into a better version of yourself.
Right. And it's also, I don't know, like a way of you communicating with yourself. Because sometimes we can't hear ourselves and we ignore ourselves a lot. And so it's just a nice way to bring you back whole as one. I have a couple like steps to go through that like I've done that has been helpful before. Especially when at the beginning, like now I have the switch, but when I first started doing meditation, the first step was just, yeah, believing that consciousness is limitless. That belief alone, like, is like seeing is believing, but believing that your consciousness is has the ability to even speak to you is step one. This like believing in meditation in general. Step two I always did is like set and hold an intention. The intention for meditation could be anything. It could be healing, guidance, messages, relaxation. I mean, there's you could set an intention for meditation for anything. Um, and then the next step I usually do is like focus and quiet my mind and body. So this is where the breathing that you're talking about comes in. The science behind or like the theory behind the breathing for meditation is that like right along the front of your body is the vagus nerve. And so whenever you do meditative breathing, and that's why like a lot of breath work even focuses on like the vagus nerve because it when it gets triggered it forces your body almost into like a relaxation. So you breathe in say like 4 counts and then you release the air at 6 counts. Well, the extra 2 counts to release the air makes you over exhale and put pressure on the vagus nerve, and that triggers the vagus nerve to like to signal to your body to relax. So I always
Interesting.
do it like 3 times, a different count. Some people do like 6 counts, 8 in, 8 out, or they do like 7, 9. But I'm a fan of just like 4 and 6 because I'm I don't know. I don't like the breathing, like the controlled breathing as much, but it's also the reason why you focus on your breathing is because that's the only automatic response that we have to keep us alive that we have control over. Like we don't have control over our heartbeat and we don't have control over our brain function, but we have control over our breathing. And so that's the only organ and the only life support that we have control over. So taking that control and controlling your breathing and putting that pressure on your vagus nerve just completely brings you all into yourself and just like kind of forces your body to relax. Um,
Very interesting.
yeah, so then I also do this yeah, the intentionally relaxing thoughts of like you kind of focus head slowly that like sometimes you do like a warm liquid just like slowly forcing your body all the way down to like relax. Sometimes I use God's light. I just picture it going through the top of my head and God's light slowly filling my body, and as it feels like my eyes like or like yeah, soften, and like you unclick your jaw and then your shoulders relax and your arms, and then you just slowly work down your body, visualizing this like soothing, calming, like light, around you or in you, just like intentionally relaxing your body. And
And
then
I
like I
just
would
want
say,
to say really quick, you know how you guys could simulate the whole warm liquid thing? If you have a hard time, recreating feeling things like that, I used to do this thing where you pretend like you're cracking an egg on top of someone's head, and then you just slowly move your fingers like this, and it'll
right.
give this person this crazy sensation, right? So have someone do that to you, and then your brain will like kind of recreate that when you're doing your meditation.
Yeah, because it's like, well, that's what like it's remembering. So like rememory is like remembering that sensation. So just even like, yeah, because once you have it once, you'll remember how that feeling is, and then you can take that feeling down your whole body. And then I just say like
Yeah.
even like yeah, it's like the melt into your chair or melt into like the bed or wherever you are, like melting into that surface is just like everyone can kind of visualize that. I think especially if you're from like grew up in the 90s because like every
Right.
or like the
Or
drug
you could
commercials are
pretend
like it's
like
sunken
you're
in.
a tree and you're growing into whatever you're on, your bed, your couch, your chair,
Yeah.
the ground. If you're outside laying on the actual ground, sitting on the ground, doesn't matter if you're sitting or laying, whatever you're doing.
Right.
You can
And
even stand and do meditations if that's how you feel you need to do it.
right, exactly. And so my but in my beginning times and sometimes I still go here if I don't really know what to focus on for meditations. This is kind of a fun one is that like I always visualize stairs. So as soon as like I would just like relax my body and then I would visualize stairs. Stairs going up would take me to like my higher self where I would receive messages for myself or for other people. When
What
I
a
first
great
started doing like
idea.
meditate or when I started doing like readings and stuff. And then
Yeah.
if I had stairs that went down, it was to bring me back to myself and either do like a chakra cleanse or like a soul reflection or something like that. So depending on which way I went up the stairs is kind of what my intention was for that meditation. It's just a
Feels like
fun.
up is to connect and down is to get grounded.
Yeah, exactly. But you can use some people use elevators. I mean, you can not do that at all and just go there. But like for me, the visual of just like stairs just always was very easy for me to focus on. But like when I would just literally focus on myself going up or down the stairs, and then I would leave it at that and just let my body, my intuition, my higher self like all take over from there. I just chose if I was going up the stairs or down the stairs, and then that's where I would just let go of the reins and see what happens. So, yeah, and then usually like I mean, I only meditate for maybe 30 minutes a day max. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I mean, certain days
You
I'm
do it
like
all at once, or do you separate it throughout multiple times
I
throughout the
do I
day?
do one 30-minute one for sure. And then yeah, through
Okay.
certain days I'll like sprinkle in other ones or throughout the day it just kind of happens too, but I intentionally do 30 minutes a day and I had to work up to that because like I didn't have the attention span and sometimes I still don't. I'll be like okay like I'm not focusing, like I gotta get up or start over or just go do something and come
Try
back to
again
like
later.
yeah, or I'm just like kind of antsy. Maybe this is a laying down meditation wasn't for me that day. I'll just like go take a walk or just, go you start journaling or something. But
Yeah.
intentionally just 30 minutes just to kind of give myself that like gift of listening to myself and
Yeah.
receiving messages and stuff because even we always talk like even doing readings like we get blocked on ourselves a lot and for meditation that's like sometimes the only way I can get a message for myself is by focusing on receiving a message for myself because so many things come through for other people and I'll see signs and guidance and like a bird and stuff, but like to really get a dedicated message is hard whenever we do what we do and you're always reading
Yeah.
other people because it's always for other people and I'll be like Melanie, I'm so blocked on this like it's for myself, so meditations is a good tool to like to try so you can get your own guidance but then also yeah sometimes you do have
It
to reach
is.
out.
And start out simple with it. Don't make it difficult. Don't um make it to where it's like work, because then that's when we give up. When things feel like work, then we don't want to do them.
Yeah,
Make it fun for yourself. That's how I meditated all these years throughout, listening to music and didn't even know that's what I was doing. But it didn't matter that I didn't know. I was still doing it. I was still getting balanced, getting grounded while listening to my music because I was alone. I was tapping into my own energy. I was going within and listening to myself. Okay, those are all the reasons why we meditate, you know?
yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of times people have a fear of what might come through or I know there's like a lot of fear around the unknown and meditation is an unknown for a lot of people. Well, for anyone going into it, because you really never know what's going to come through, but like that's enough to like kind of block people sometimes. So I always just like set the intention to receive messages only of my highest good, and the highest good of all involved. And then I always say that I only receive messages from within God's white light. And then also as I am meditating, I always just ask my guides, my angels to help raise my vibration, because the higher your vibration, the less obtainable you are to anything negative or low vibration. Um, so yeah, just set the fear aside. And I just think it's more vague than people expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so let's see. I also had, oh yeah. So the other thing is like to get started, like what you said with having a hard time, like getting even in the habit of meditation. I suggest that's why like the 3 to 5 minutes when you're first starting. I mean, if you have the time one day or a day here and there to do like a 30-minute meditation, that's usually just my attention span, but they do have longer ones like sleeping meditations that are like an hour or 2 hours, and those are great too. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
to
But can
start
I
off,
just say 3 to 5 minutes when you're first starting out, it seems like a long time, but it's perfect.
it's
So
perfect.
if
Yeah.
you're not someone that, if you have a short attention span and you freaking know it, don't go in like, oh, I'm going to do an hour meditation every day because next thing you know, you're going to get frustrated and give up on it. Just
Or
saying.
like, yeah, or like your life
Baby
will get in the
steps.
way. Yeah, like life won't always let you have that hour or sometimes even half an hour.
Some people
Um,
wish they had an hour of free time every day. Just
yeah,
saying.
I know it seems like, yeah, like a lot of work, you know.
Yeah.
But like I'll even set my alarm for like 30 minutes before I have to get up, throw my headphones in, turn on my meditation, and just lay there until my actual alarm goes off and just do my meditation then, if like before I even like put my feet on the floor. Not to get it done and over with, but it's also I'm still like kind of in that twilight sleep mentality, and I'm my body's already relaxed, and so it's kind of
Yep.
makes it a little bit easier to slip into that.
It's
But
kind of perfect for real.
yeah, and then I have a hard time in the evening doing that, 'cause like winding down, I think about my day and whatever. But sometimes like I'll want to meditate because I can't fall asleep. And so I just want to process my day. And so I'll do like a 10-minute meditation, or I just do an intentional meditation to just cleanse myself, my energy, and my day because it was like chaotic or whatever. But just even starting with 3 to 5 minutes a day for 3 weeks, that's what it takes to form a habit. So if you just focus, you're like, well, 3 minutes, I'm not really getting anything out of the 3 minutes. Well, what you're getting out of it is starting to make a habit. It's not, you might not get anything directly from this 3 minutes of meditation or 3 minutes of quiet time that you're giving yourself, but you're building up a habit to make the longer and more intense and the more interactive meditations a priority in your life. So
Yeah.
start small, baby steps, especially anything spiritual. Baby steps is always just kind of easier, because when you start opening up and the things that you're getting, it might be a little intense at first or a little
Mhm.
confusing. And, and we always say, like, you could always reach out to us if you don't have a spiritual person in your life to kind of reflect on these things with, or to, bounce ideas off of like what you're experiencing, because like that, like it's an experience, and it's not one that necessarily you should keep to yourself, because sometimes it can just be exciting or overwhelming. So yeah.
Yeah, it really can. And I just want to say, too, for those of you out there that are newer to this or you're trying to learn how to meditate, but it's been a little difficult, just go with the flow. Do it when you feel called to do it. Like, I am not a routine kind of person. I have always had an issue with abiding by
Me
routines.
too.
So the whole, oh, you must meditate every morning at 8 a.m. Maybe that works for some of you. So do that. But for others of you that are more like me, I meditate at all different times, every day, all the time. Like, I might feel like I need to meditate at 7 p.m. tonight, and I will do that. Tomorrow, I might feel like I need to meditate at noon, and so I will do that. And then the next day, I might need to meditate at 10 a.m., and so I will do that. And it's just, I just go by my body compass because our body is like a compass and it will tell you when
Right.
you need what you need when you need it if you just listen, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I totally agree. Like I don't meditate the same time every day. And some days I'm like, I'm too tired. I don't want to do it because I don't want to sleep through my meditation. And I just, or so I totally agree with that. Like it doesn't have to be consistent. A lot of times whenever you first start doing like mediumship and you start wanting to communicate with like deceased loved ones, the advice is to be consistent in your time to communicate because time doesn't matter on the other side, but for them to know your routine, to know when they might want to tap in with you, that's whenever timing is more important. But like for meditation, it just follow your guidance, your body, your schedule, whatever. Um, just another little hint or like tip or whatever to for meditation, if you're having a hard time like releasing control and just getting into the meditation. So I say like use the word like shift. Like you're shifting your consciousness from human reality to higher self reality. And so when like if you lay there and you say like, all right, shift and just like picture yourself like shifting cameras or yeah, like a video game control, like you're changing your viewpoint. So when you have like a trigger word, like mine was shift, but yours could be like switch or flip or it could be anything that you want that triggers your brain to be trained to know when to switch into a meditative state. My other
Nice.
thing
That's
is
good
just like
advice.
yeah, just like having like it's like a safe word but for meditation.
Yeah, and there's so many different words that mean the same thing. So use what feels right to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And you'll know what works for you. And like if you're like, "Oh my gosh, what was that word she said?" Don't care. Like what I'm saying, the same words that I say don't mean the same. So come up
Right?
with
You
your
could
own
say you're
versions.
transitioning, transforming, changing, shifting, elevating, evolving, whatever you want. It all can mean what you want, you know?
Yeah, and then at the end of a meditation, I always make sure I take a minute and just of just being in gratitude for the messages I've received or the having the time to do this meditation, just to reflect on some version of gratitude for what you experienced or um, just the practice of it or like what you're working towards like just to be in gratitude for like a minute or so like after and that just I think that makes a huge difference because a lot of times in that minute of gratitude you start really like talking out loud or even to yourself about what you experienced during that meditation. That's usually whenever I'm like, oh, that's why that thought was popping in my head or that's why I was distracted or that's why I got that visual because you get communication through meditation. Sometimes it's just blankness, but you can get visuals, you can get auditory messages, you can get sensations. There's different ways that your body's going to communicate with you while you're meditating. So just,
And people really downplay the feeling part. When you feel
yeah.
stuff, don't downplay what you felt because it means something. Figure out what your body and spirit is trying to tell you when you're feeling certain things because it means something for you, or you
Yeah.
wouldn't be feeling it.
Yeah. And just like being raised Catholic, I think like, I mean, prayer and meditation to me now go hand in hand. But whenever I first started meditating, I was like nervous. I'm like, this is kind of against what I was always told to do. So I always would call on my grandma to be with me to protect me while I meditate and like to be with
Aw.
me if it was like, yeah, safe practice and stuff. And my sign for her is that on my right foot, she'd always grab my like two middle toes and I'd always just feel pressure. Just and I'm like, okay, she's here because she was just at the foot of my bed and I would just have a little squeeze or and it was like a sensation that I would feel every time I meditated and just instinctually there I would just know it was my grandma and that but I don't feel it anymore because now she doesn't need to protect me during my meditations because I am protected during my meditations, you know, but it was like almost like instead of her holding my hand because my hand had a crystal or that was under a blanket or I was like on, you know, my hands were down. It was always my toe, my toes.
Dude, can I just say that I was going to mention something and now I feel like I need to because you said that about your grandma grabbing your toes. Okay, a lot of people like, if anything touches me while I'm meditating, I'm done for good. Because I remember watching a bunch of videos like on YouTube and stuff where people were explaining what meditating is like. And some of these girls come on, they're like, I'm done with spirituality because I was meditating and some demon freaking grabbed me and blah, 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 and da, da, da. And I just felt like I wanted to mention that during this, but then wasn't going to until you said that. Because here's the thing, guys, when you're meditating, you're connecting to things outside of yourself, energies, which are spirits outside of yourself. So you might get touched. You might feel sensations physically. And like we were just saying, that is all meant to portray messages to you. You have to figure out what it means. You have to figure out who touching you. Maybe it's your grandpa. Maybe it's your great grandma. Maybe it's your mom or your dad or your brother or your cousin, somebody that you have lost to the other side. Maybe it's one of the angels working with you and they're placing a hand on you like her grandma was for a specific reason. Maybe they're healing you. Maybe like her grandma was, they're letting you know they're there with you and you're not alone. So instead of taking it as, oh, something touched me, I'm done with this, why don't you look more into it further instead of just being done with it? You know what I mean?
That's what like I totally agree and like that's why it's so important to like have your protections up and like and to really like meditation is for your own soul awareness. Like I would only reach out to my grandma to because it was like an uncomfortable practice for based off of the religion I was brought up in, but like I'm like is it okay? Is this like a positive thing? And she would just yep, I would feel it on my toes and that was like my confirmation that like it's okay to meditate, you know, it's okay to do this. But
Yeah.
then I call on my angels and I call on my guides and I call on my people, my energy sources, my spirit team. And I set up the protections of only messages for my highest good and the highest good of all involved, only messages within God's white light. Like those protections do keep um anything negative or anything low vibrational out. That's why I even asked to have my vibration raised, especially while I meditate, because you are slipping into this subconscious mindset. And if you're not protected or you are low vibrational, you can experience maybe scarier things, but you're in control. And that's the thing. Like that's what like our ego wants us to tell us that like you know, we're not as in as much control as we think, but spiritually, you're in complete control over what you interact with, who's your
Yep.
protection, what's around you. I mean, there's so much. And
Yeah.
that's why those energy protections are also very important because whether if you're feeling ungrounded, maybe do an energy protection before you do a meditation or to do one after if you feel like maybe sometimes like I've had some visuals where I'm like, I know I traveled. I should probably do an energy protection or just an energy cleanse to release any energy that I might have accumulated over the visual travel that I did while I was meditating. Um,
Yeah. And
so just like
also just
that energy cleanse and the energy protection is super important.
well, don't forget, guys, your words and what you speak as your intentions are very powerful. So before you start a meditation, if you're afraid of anything lower vibrational coming through and affecting you in a negative way, you state firmly, before I start this meditation, I do not allow any negative or dark energies to come through. period. Say it however you want, but that's what you need to be projecting out. Okay. Um, Ask Archangel Michael to protect you while you're in meditation. Ask God to protect you. Ask Jesus to protect you. Whatever, however you want to do it. Ask your grandma to protect you, however you want to do it. But say something and put some energy into place to protect yourself from anything coming in that you don't want to experience, because you do have the power to do that. Everyone does.
Yeah, and I've read many books on meditation, or even a lot of spiritual books that have like a section on meditation. One of the best books I've ever read for meditation specifically, especially with the protections, is The Awakened Way by Suzanne Geisman. Her book is great because it has information and then also has practice. So it's like almost like half book, half workbook. And
Nice.
it was a great source for me whenever I first started, or it was probably mid mid practice of meditating, because there's so much information out there, but a lot of it is just like it's as simple as just protecting yourself, letting go of your ego and setting an intention, and then just seeing where your guides take you, or where your higher self takes you. But there's an overload of like a lot of information out there for it. But that was one book that I really found helpful, and just on many topics. Like even she has like mediumship chapters and stuff too to practice. And so I highly recommend
Nice.
that.
Take Chrissy up on that advice, you guys, because she is very knowledgeable and has read a lot of books and information. That's something I haven't done personally. I haven't read many books in my life. I read a lot of Goosebumps. I was younger,
Well,
and
I was in spiritual hiding
Stephen
until I
King
found you.
books, but that's something like I get my information intuitively, but Spirit is wanting me to start reading books and learning things that way through other people. And Chrissy is like the go to about what book to read about what. I'm telling you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I've read some that I'm like, this is garbage, or I'm like, too much. Like, I don't know, too woo-woo
Yeah.
even for me. But that's why whenever it's just like back down, if you can find a good practical book, and that's usually what I end up recommending. Just, yeah, because it's within reason, and it's practical, that you can actually practice what they're teaching, and it's not intimidating, because none of this should be intimidating. It's like, the only intimidating part could be just if you're not protected, but even
Yeah.
like if you're doing your energy protections and you don't do one for your meditation, you're still protected. I don't necessarily do one before I meditate, but I usually do an energy protection in the morning and a meditation at some point within the morning. So they kind of go hand in hand. It's not like there's like a timer or time limit on your protections. So as long as I'm just like continue to protect myself and my energy daily within my meditation, I'm protected. So it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
anything crazy. And we talk about energy protection just on like the level that we do because of what we do. If you're going through your just day in and day out, and you're, going to work, coming home, like there's energies that you're picking up on, but whenever like we intentionally connect to other people's energy to do readings, and to just, yeah, relay messages for others. So connecting to someone on that level definitely needs a little bit more of a protection. So I don't want to sound like we're being overly dramatic with the protections, but it's just because of what we do versus like an everyday life. But everyday life still needs protection, because you're literally like, yeah, the glue that's walking around, attracting all of, everything's sticking to you. So it's still good
Yes.
practice, but you're always protected as long as that's like your intention too.
Yes. And I just have to share really quick with you guys because I wasn't gonna, but I was, and then I wasn't. And then when you said that, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's so important to protect your energy. All right. Because The other day, I was around some low vibrational people, some friends of mine. Okay, not everybody is at the same level you are. It doesn't mean that they're bad people just because their vibration doesn't match yours. But when someone's vibration is lower than yours, it affects you energetically. Well, I didn't think about the fact that I was too lazy and didn't protect myself that day. Like when Chrissy was saying, sometimes she feels lazy and don't want to do it, but she knows she has to. Well, I didn't do it and then forgot. And then hung out with those people and then went right away and did a whole bunch of readings, which some negative energies came through and affected me even more. And I was sitting here freaking out, thought I was going to die or something because I felt like this swirling energy around my third eye inside of me. And I started blacking out and I was getting like that tunnel vision. And it took me several minutes of cleansing, clearing, protecting my energy, and calling upon Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron and others to come in, and God and Jesus to clear me out immediately and get me back right. And I was wrong for the rest of the night. I was okay, but I felt off. I felt sick. It was immediate. It was horrible. And it was just like a reminder that your energy is not like anyone else's. Your vibrational frequency is not like anyone else's. And it is important to meditate because that connects you to your own energy. You need to get to learn your energy in order to understand what you specifically need. What kind of meditation? How much meditation? And then that goes into what kind of protection? Much protection. How often? Do you need to be doing this every day? Do you need to be doing this a few times a month? You need to make those decisions, engaging it off of your specific, unique life situation, personality, frequency, energy, and all of those things.
That like yeah, that was a very good point. Is that like that's one benefit that really comes from meditating is that you start learning your energy, how you feel, what feels like you, because sometimes yeah, you'll be in a bad mood for no reason. You're like, logically, I don't have a reason to be in a bad mood, but physically I'm feeling like it. But I'm like, ooh, this isn't me. This is like someone else's like energy that I'm picking up on. Or even whenever you do meet some new people, you're so aware of like what you feel like, what your energy feels like, that if they don't really resonate with you, you're gonna feel off, or there's gonna be something off. You're like, I don't know, they're very nice, but there's something off about that person because you're able to decipher your energy from theirs because you're so aware of like your own soul feeling. And so I
Yeah.
just think that's like that's a big benefit that comes from it. And I mean it's a
Yeah.
blessing and a curse because now I feel like yeah, I can read people energy very easily and I'm like give them a chance. But then they always
Right.
end up proving
And
me like yeah, I'm like okay.
I am not trying to sound like I am better than anybody else, talking about how I was around some people and their low vibration affected me. That's not what I mean.
Hmm.
What really is happening is I have healed and expanded myself through the work I've done on myself for so long, okay, that I have raised my vibrational frequency to through the roof basically at this point. All right, we're talking about decades of work that I've done on myself. So
Right.
my vibrational frequency is like way up here, and the average person's is way down here because the average person hasn't healed, hasn't grown, hasn't expanded, is lost in the matrix, has not woken up enough yet, doesn't understand energy, doesn't understand themselves, right? And it takes all of that to raise your frequency. So when you get to the point where I'm at, and Chrissy is there too, her frequency is extremely high. She doesn't drain me at all because our frequencies almost match.
Right.
Okay. No one's is going to be identical to anyone else's, but we're way up there. But when you go around anyone else, it's going to affect you when you have your frequency this high. And that's where you get into the point where you have to protect and cleanse and meditate every single day. No excuses, period, because you're there now. You've reached that point. There is no going back. Once you raise your frequency, there's no unraising it. That's not a thing. I mean,
Right.
if I wanted to, I could like become a drug addict again and then end up going to jail and getting into all that. And that eventually would lower my frequency back down. But that would take a lot of work on my end to lower my frequency. And the point that I'm at, I would never want to do that. I don't want to do any of those low vibrational things. I have no urge to
Right.
do
I
those
was just
low
gonna say,
vibrational
yeah, it would be
things.
an effort for you to do that or to
Yeah,
behave
like
that
I'm
way.
set where
Yeah.
I'm at and I like it and I'm not moving, you know, but
Yeah.
I also have to adjust to the new way of being, this new energy that I'm in now. And when my friends the other day lowered my vibration, I had no idea that was going to happen. I don't they're great people. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the situation or the problem. It's just energy is energy and it's very powerful. And once you understand it, you really get the key to life right then and there because everything is energy.
Yeah, and trust what you're feeling whenever you're around somebody. Like if like I don't know. I don't want to sound, yeah, it's hard to not sound like an asshole kind of, but like I like I don't know any other word to use right now, but
Right.
um just that like when I meet someone who's low vibrational, I have a hard time even having small talk. Like I have a hard time even talking about the weather just because like I can kind of sense that their intention is different with me because they can subconsciously sense my energy too. So they might behave a little bit differently around me, or I might not get the genuineness of them, but I don't know. It's this feeling that you're going to experience and trust. And trusting it is the hardest because our mind's like, oh no, that's who you used to be friends with, or that's who used to, that used to be your drinking buddy. But then but your body's like, ah, like no, like no, like that doesn't resonate with you anymore. Like this person does, and that we're always changing, we're always evolving. And that's one thing I even say with meditation is that it evolves us. It evolves our ability to get to know ourselves, to feel ourselves, to communicate with ourselves, communicate with our spirit teams. It evolves us so much that like even when I first started meditating, my beliefs were one way, and I was like all proud and happy and wanted to tell everyone about my new beliefs. But as I've evolved and I've meditated and I've um, listened more than talking, which is hard to believe on this podcast, but I noticed that like my beliefs have evolved and the way I listen to my environment around me has evolved. And so it's not like, yeah, you're better than anybody, but it's just like different vibrations. Like you're not meant to resonate with everybody. And if you do,
Oh my
you'll
gosh.
exhaust yourself and lose yourself.
Yes, you just made me have a realization. So using Chrissy as an example, because she's like my one. She understands me because we vibrate at a very similar same frequency. But when I'm around other people with a lower vibration, they don't understand me. It
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, everything I say, they go against it or start an argument. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying energetically, there's a mismatch, if you will. And
Yeah.
so you're going to feel it energetically when you're walk away from that person in that situation. You're going to feel drained, have a headache, stomach ache, nausea, fatigued. Those are all the symptoms of your frequency kind of lowering itself to exist in the same space as the other low frequency that you were just associating with.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you're a good or a bad person. Frequency is energy, right? Isn't it energy? I think.
And I think it's awareness.
Yeah.
Because my husband has some like friends that he's had forever, and I just like started like I'm like, I can't just go to their house and just bullshit anymore. Like I can't. Like it makes me
Yeah.
physically uncomfortable, but it's
Well, don't you feel
also
like you have to overly explain yourself
yeah,
and it's
and
like,
like
oh, this is exhausting. If you don't understand me, you don't understand me, right?
yeah, and like I don't need to be the butt of the joke or I don't have to defend
Yes.
myself. But like even if we're just talking about like football, just being around that, I just don't think they have good intentions, or you can kind of pick up on like people more. And
Yeah.
I don't think they have
And
good
that low
intentions.
vibrational frequency making you the butt of the joke, that happens to me a lot too. And now I realize it's less vindictive, like I thought it was, and it's more their frequency is so much lower than mine. They don't understand me and it makes them
It makes sense.
uncomfortable.
I was
So
gonna say
they
the same thing.
retaliate by making you the butt of the joke and cracking jokes to lighten the mood, which is a low vibrational way of lightening the mood. Because what they don't realize is they're hurting the high vibrational person's feelings by doing that and creating like eh,
No, they want you to,
negativity.
they want you to match their vibration to make them more comfortable. So I
Yes.
used to think
So
I had to
dulling
defend
down.
myself and like have not like an argument, but like defend myself, like stand up for myself. Cause I'm like, no, I'm making a change. I'm standing up for myself. But then it would be like
Yeah,
almost like that would lower my vibration from trying to have an argument with someone who
it
doesn't
does.
have, so now I'm just like, it's fine, it's okay. Like, and I just don't go around those people anymore. And it's
You know that meme on Facebook of the monkey from The Lion King, and he's sitting in the meditative position, and it says something like, enlightened people do not argue with those that don't understand, or something
yeah.
like that. Yes, that truly applies. It really does.
Yeah, but the other funny thing, which is might be a little shady to say, but like they're usually the first ones that want to ask me like a million questions too. Like they'll make fun of
Right?
me, and then like 30 minutes later, they're like, "So are you picking up on anything? Like what are you getting from me? What do you see for this?" I'm like,
I
"Didn't you
can't
just?"
stand people like
I
that.
was
I
like,
get
"Yeah,
those all the time. Like,
right,
you want to make fun of me and say psychics aren't real, but then you want to ask me questions that you want psychic answers to.
yes,
What's happening right now?
yeah,
That,
exactly,
my friend, is a low vibration, is what
yep."
that is.
But I have an example of even just from being self-aware and like aware of like my vibration and stuff is that like I think I told you this story. I don't know if I told you this part of it, but I just went to like a dinner and there was a bunch of people that I didn't know. And I called it like my coming out kind of dinner. It was the first time I was like with this a new group of people and not really knowing how they would react to. They're like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a medium and I do this and that." And like, and instantly like two people like turned their back on me. They're like, "Ugh," and I was like, "Okay, whatever. I'm kind of used to it. I could, yeah."
Bye.
I'm like, I'm fine being here on my own. But then within like the next like 10, 15 minutes, like like they eventually turned around and we started talking more. And the one person was like, "I wanted to judge you because I'm Catholic and I don't believe in what you do. And we're told that if you talk to mediums or you're talk to the dead within the Catholic religion, you're going to hell. That's a huge sin. You don't do that." But she's like, "I wanted to judge you, but then I realized," she's like, "I'm twice divorced as a Catholic. So who am I to pass any judgments on you without even talking to you?" Like she's like, and it was the most like like insightful kind of conversation to have with somebody because she instantly was
That's
like, "Oh, no,
beautiful.
I'm not going to bother with her." But then she came
Your
back around.
energy just being there taught her a lesson,
Yeah, I think
and
just like
she
me not
learned and
reacting and just
expanded.
like, yeah, I gave her time to reflect. And I think she could feel that like my intentions were good, that I'm not a bad person. I am a very light, bright person. And she wanted to continue to have a conversation, but she had to kind of get past that part first. And I was like, I totally understand. I was raised Catholic. This has been uncomfortable transition for me. I'm still in religious recovery.
And
Like, but
just you saying that you were psychic medium healed her in a whole different
yep.
way, on a whole different level, had nothing to do with you, but yet you provided that healing for her by coming out of the psychic closet. I said, Chrissy came out the
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Like, we have to have a celebration.
I know we have lots to
Because when I
celebrate.
came out the psychic closet, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I started telling people close to me, I got the whole, since when are you a psychic? Or what are you even talking about? Or no, you're not. Or blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. It sounds like Charlie Brown. Wah, wah,
Wah, wah,
wah,
wah,
wah,
wah.
wah. don't care. Bye. But it took
Yeah.
some time. Chrissy has me now, and I will always be there to agree with her and be the first one to say, oh, that person's a jerk. F them. Right. But I didn't have anybody to do that for me. I had to go it alone. It was a solo journey and it was very difficult. It
It's
was.
very difficult. That's why we want to like have such an open like communication and conversation about all of this because so many people like spiritual awakenings are very lonely because not only are you raising your vibration, so all the people that are low vibration are just dropping out of your life and not always in the most graceful ways. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's why we just want to like make a community and to feed a community just of, light workers and
Yeah.
people
And that's where
interesting.
meditation comes into play.
Hmm.
Meditation is after all those experiences with all the people close to me and friends and people that I thought would support me no matter what I did, turn their backs on me and made me question my life purpose. That's where I had to turn to meditation and go within and
Yeah,
allow my own spirit to support me. I had to get support from myself.
totally.
Period.
That is such a good way to say it. Like you have to be your own best friend during this, and meditation is the beginning of that. And it's a
Yeah,
beginning of
it
a lot
helped
of
me connect
healing.
to my soul.
Yeah. And like when you get a message through or like some guidance through meditation, it's so undoubtedly true. And like you can't not believe it because you experience it
Absolutely.
and you know where it's coming from. And so when that builds your confidence in conversations with people that might, I call them doubters. And because I love Polar Express, but the doubters are very sometimes aggressive against you, but I used to think I had to react and defend, but now I'm just like, no, everyone believes something different. That's literally what I told the person too. I was like, we're not all meant to believe the same thing. So if you believe something different, I totally respect that, but I just want you to respect what I believe because this world
Yes.
is round. It's not flat. We're not meant to all believe the
Thank
exact
you.
same thing, you know?
Oh, we're going to get some flat earther
I
comments.
know. My husband's like a possible flat earther, so I get it. I'm open to anything, but just like we're not supposed to be like linear. We're all over the place, and we're all meant to believe different things because no one really knows. No one's right, no one's wrong, but we're all just here for our own purpose, and our own
Yes.
purpose will have us believe different things.
And I have to mention to you guys that even though there are people that are going to work against you tirelessly and try to stop you from becoming who you're meant to be, it's usually the people closest to you. Don't think that it's this personal vendetta. I mean, it could be in some cases, but in most cases, everyone in your life is a pawn in your story. And some people are here to make it difficult for you. Some people are here to test you, push you to the brink of no return
Hmm.
because you're here proving yourself. You're proving your worth for what it is, whatever your purpose is. And that's why we come here. We're trying to outdo ourselves. We're amazing souls. We have
Yeah.
amazing spirits within us that can do anything. But in this human body, we're limited and we're here trying to prove that we are just as much as our soul is within us in this physical body. So I'm just saying, meditation is the key to all of that and unlocking everything for you.
Yeah, that's why you're like our bodies are limited, but our consciousness is limitless.
That's right.
And even just going through the transformations and stuff, I at one point lost every single friend. Like every friend, they all turned their backs on me because they thought I was a big old weirdo. But slowly, yeah.
I had people straight up unfriend me on Facebook and
Yeah.
like because I started putting up psychic readings and that broke my heart. People that I've known my whole life just blocked me like I never existed because I want to read tarot. How
Yeah.
does that affect your life so detrimentally that you got to block me and make me feel like crap? But then I realized I was taking it personal and
Yeah.
it doesn't really have anything to do with me.
It doesn't. Yep. And like my son was even losing friends like that they didn't want him around their kid because of what I do and but slowly the right people came back and our
That's right,
friendships
because that's
better
okay.
and yeah, so it's just like, be patient with the process, but just learning yourself and just bringing yourself whole again is, yeah, so important. So that's why, like, yeah, as you said in the beginning, we're building on uh the like pyramid of spirituality. Like first, like, yeah, the energy protection, super important, and then meditation um is just the way to yeah, just kind of be your best version of yourself and to know yourself, love yourself, understand your energy and the energy around you. And then next, yeah, we're going to be talking about channeling because a lot of, yeah, you didn't even write anything down
I'm
this week.
excited to
So
talk about channeling.
yeah, and just the
I
feeling
didn't
of
write nothing
channeling.
down for this one because this is Chrissy's forte, okay, baby? Because she is the master meditation goddess queen of all meditation.
Oh my gosh.
I have
Well,
learned so much for her in what we've known each other for 7, 8 months. I
yeah.
have learned more from you just in idle chit chat about meditation. You weren't even like specifically teaching me anything or trying to. You were just sharing your knowledge, wisdom, information with it. And I've learned so much from you in this small period of time than I've learned looking up things about it over 5 years. I'm just saying.
Yeah, oh, thank you. You're so sweet. But like,
Yes.
yeah, going on the spiritual journey, I was alone in it. And so the only thing I even knew or my instinctual feeling was just to start meditating. And that's kind of, that was my first like stepping stone was just meditate. Because like, what do I do? Like, I don't, I like, I'm coming from a religious background, and I mean, prayer's meditation, and a lot of religious people would their heads would spin hearing that. But like, I would say, like, I would almost like feel like whenever I would pray, I would get into this like kind of like altered state. And so I'm like, well, maybe if I start there, and then it just kind of like snowballed. And that's just, it's almost like my security blanket at this point is just like, I love meditating. I just really think it brings so many positive, so much positivity to like my life in general, just to me, to everything around me, to my awareness. Like, only goods come of it. I mean, yeah, I don't think I've ever really had a scary meditation. Sometimes like,
I
yeah,
haven't either.
yeah, and I think that's because
Excuse me.
yeah, it's just because
That was random.
yeah, it's just like our protections and stuff. So I just think like, yeah, it's it's an important tool I think to learn, and it's also a great one to start with. So if you're kind of just beginning, yeah,
I feel the hiccups coming on, and I feel like that is emphasizing, like that's, I would say, oh, that's clarification. So whatever she was just saying, yes.
yes. But also, once again, like, yeah, if you have any additional questions or you have anything else to add to this conversation, feel free to leave us comments, questions, and any feedback. We appreciate it. And yeah, just let us know if you need anything.